Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego live, coming live to you guys all around the world here in the panhandle of Florida, near Pensacola, east of Pensacola, north of Navarre Beach. And it's time for the K1 Visa live chat answers and questions. And I'm here for you for an hour and a half every Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time to answer all your questions. And if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer for you. And we're in the K1 visa process, just like you guys. We're waiting and waiting and waiting for our K1 visa. Now, Karina, my prometida, my beautiful prometida, she is right now at work in Bogota, Colombia. She's the manager of some ice cream stores. But her university studies, her degreed up paperwork is all in tax accounting. Oof, I couldn't imagine being a tax accountant, but I think that's what she wants to do when she gets to the United States and open a business. And we have Jose Custodio. Hola, how are you, Jose? How are you? How's your day going? And I try to do this at the same time every week. And we Edward Tubman Jr. Hi from Liberia. Well, hello everybody. Hi, Edward in Liberia. Don't forget, folks, let me know which country you're watching us from, or which state, or which part of the US of A. And I'm here for you. I'm going to pull you guys over the finish line and get you in the USA. And Greg Lamping, hi Diego, greetings from Cincinnati. Okay, Greg, Cincinnati. Now, Greg, I recall, I believe that your prometida is in Colombia, like Karina. Jose Custodio is in New Jersey. Beautiful. I've been to New Jersey many times. And Connecticut, Chopper in Connecticut. I've never been to Connecticut. And Licia Baby Barbara, good evening, Diego from Nigeria. Beautiful Nigeria. Okay, thank you for watching from Nigeria. Now, that's a long way away from Florida, and but that's okay. Thanks for staying up to watch the show. And Jose, my comprometida is from Peru. Peru, okay, yeah, that's South America, way south of Colombia. And I've never been to Peru, but we were going to go to Peru for a vacation, but things kind of turned for the worse a little bit politically down there. But hopefully they're getting squared away so that in the future we can go down to Peru for a vacation. You know, Machu Picchu, I believe, is there, and Dejalal Kraloa from Qatar. Qatar, absolutely. And actually, I got Qatar on my list of videos to make. I'm going to make a video about the embassy in Qatar. It's on my list. Also, India, Morocco, Ethiopia, the Georgia Republic, and Jamaica, Russia, Ghana, and other countries. Let's see. Jose is going to be going to see her in May. Your fiance in May. Outstanding. And don't forget, keep a hold of your keep copies of your boarding passes there and back, and get lots of pictures together with friends and family, and keep all your receipts. And let's see, Susie Galdamez, hello, hi Susie. And Marquisha Smith, good evening from Kentucky. Good old now Kentucky. That's where they have the Kentucky Derby, the horse racing. It's fantastic, a beautiful state, a very pretty place to live. Lealtad e respeto, loyalty and respect. Hello, Diego. Now, if Lealtad, I believe, if I remember, you're in the Dominican Republic, if I recall. I got thousands of friends watching us on the show and in the group and in the YouTube, and I'm trying to remember where everybody's from. You know, it's a big world. Let's see. Sí, muchos saludos, Diego. Muchas gracias. And aquí es caliente. Clima es bien. A mí gusta clima. The climate here in Florida is nice. It's warming up, although it's a little cool in the mornings. Thank you for your help. No problem, Leatad. No problem. Gracias por la ayuda. No problem. No problem. I'll help everybody. I'll help you. Kellen Adams, Guyana. Hey, Guyana, everybody in Guyana. Now, that's a beautiful country, too. Now, it's pretty warm in Guyana. Now I'm a warm weather kind of guy. Okay, I don't like cold weather. And when I'm in Colombia, when I'm in Bogota, up in the mountains, it gets cold sometimes. Woo! And then when it's raining and cold, man, I'm miserable. But I'm with Karina, so that kind of helps make it better. But I don't like cold weather at all. And yeah, Guyana, beautiful country. Qatar also is a beautiful country. I've got on my list here to make a video about Guyana and Ghana and Jamaica. Now, in Russia, the U.S. Embassy in Moscow is closed. Okay, they shut the doors and they quit processing visas, CR1, K1, everything. So if you are a Russian, we love our Russian friends and we want to see you get your K1 visa. You just have to go to a different country, tell your sponsor, you got to go to a different country so that you can adjudicate the visa. Dejal, Crayola, Diego, I appreciate your help for K1. I got the denial, as I know. Yeah, don't worry about that. I went to reapply again. I am confused. I contact second attorney. They suggest spousal because I have first denial. And you spent $5,000 on an attorney to tell you to go spousal? No, I wouldn't have spent that money. But hey, the bottom line is to get your fiance matched to the USA. There's no problem with doing a second K1 visa. If I recall, you didn't meet face to face in the time allotted within the 2-year period that is required by USCIS. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. Okay, just make sure that you meet face to face within the 2 years when you file your K1 visa. Now, if you want to go through a spousal visa, that's up to you. Either way, you're going to get your visa approved. If the only reason is that you got denied because you didn't meet face to face within 2 years, that's not a big deal. It just means you didn't meet the requirement that the U.S. Congress is asking of you, okay, through USCIS. It's not a big deal. Just meet the requirements and reapply. Now, I prefer a K1 visa myself, okay? I've been through the K1 visa in the past, and I've been through the CR1 visa in the past. And the K1 visa I found was much easier. If you get married, which is fine, which is good, if you get married and go through the CR1 visa, when your visa gets approved, okay, it goes to the NVC, the National Visa Center. Then you have to upload all these documents, your photos, your birth certificate, your translation, your passport, her passport. It has to be done specifically. And if you make an error at the NVC uploading the documents, let's suppose they can't quite read it, it's off a little bit, or the translation didn't come through, they can't read it, then they'll send you an email and say, you got to resubmit the documents. Okay, but then you got to wait three more months. Trust me, I've been through it, okay? The first time I submitted documents through a CR1 visa, I had submitted my passport and my beneficiary's passport photo on the same page and uploaded it under passports. And then I got an email from NVC saying, you got to do them separate, this one and then this one. I'm like, great, okay. To me, that's no big deal. So I resubmitted the documents as they requested, and I had to wait 3 months for an answer. And then they said I made a mistake on this other document because it was off a little bit and they couldn't read it. Well, I could read it perfectly fine, okay? And I had to wait another 3 months. So that was 6 months on the CR1 visa. It's insane. K1 visa is the way to go, because when the USCIS approve your visa, okay, they send it to the NVC. The NVC just give you a case number and contact the embassy to check on the status of availability for interviews. And that's it. That's all and then they do a police check on the sponsor. But you don't have to upload any documents, okay? I would avoid the CR1 visa, even though it may be, some people say it's a little quicker and some people are saying it's cheaper. To me, I want my fiance, I want Karina with me in the United States. I don't want her to be hanging around in Bogota, Colombia, because an immigration officer at the NVC said that I didn't upload a document properly, when in fact I probably did. Okay, it's all on the date. It's all in the temperament of the immigration. The NVC, when they get my visa package, they're going to give me a case number and they're going to mail it to the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, Colombia. The NVC wash their hands of it. They close it out on their end, and then it's between me, Karina, and the embassy staff at the embassy in Bogota. So go with the K1 visa, man. If your attorney's telling you to get married, okay, then obviously he has no clue about the NVC processing, because if he did, he would tell you not to do that. Okay, just because you didn't meet face to face within the 2 years, it means you didn't qualify for the visa. It doesn't mean you were denied. It doesn't mean you were blocked. It doesn't mean you can't apply again. It means that you didn't follow the rules. So resubmit within the rules, and you're good. Then you're good to go. I'm fully confident. No problems. Markeisha Smith. It's interesting and a relief to hear you say that you prefer the K1 over the CR1. I'm in a couple of K1 groups, and the admins are always discouraging new members from doing K1. Well, I would get out of that group, okay? I would not be in that group, because the K1 visa is the way to go. Once NVC get it, the NVC will touch it, get a case number assigned, do a background check on the sponsor, and ship it off to the embassy. That's it. But if you're in a marriage visa, if you're in a spousal visa, the NVC get it, they hold it. And then they tell you, oh, we need this, we need this, we need this, and we need that. Upload this. And when you upload the document into the SEAC system, which is the State Department website, then you got to wait for them to accept it. So you could be waiting for 2 weeks just for an acceptance. Oh, yeah, we got your passport picture. It's crazy. No, I'm all in on K1. Let's see. Jose, my fiance has a son. I did not include his passport or travel consent from his father in our K1 visa package, but I did fill out the portion about her living with her son. That's okay. If you didn't include it in the K1 visa package, you don't need the travel consent form for the immigration people. The embassy folks don't care. That's basically your problem. Immigration will approve your visa with or without that letter from the parental consent, okay? But you got to have it when you leave the country, because the immigration folks at the country, when you leave the country, won't let you leave without that letter of consent, okay? Been there, done that, okay? Make sure you got the letter of consent in your hand. You can bring it to the embassy interview, but make sure you got it when you're at the airport, because the country of origin are going to look for that letter, okay? So, and then if you didn't, don't worry about the passport. Make sure you bring that to the visa interview, okay? So, let's see. A5 Raven, how do they deny you an interview? Are you applying for K1? Gia Blair, hello, Diego. My fiance went to his interview and received his K1 visa last week. Hey, Lagos, Nigeria. We filed in October 2021. The whole process was very smooth and no RFE. Perfect. You put together a perfect visa package. You didn't forget to sign anything. You included all the pictures and everything that was required. It went to the NVC. The NVC mailed it to the embassy in Nigeria. The embassy took it and gave you and processed the visa. It should go nice and smooth like that for everybody, okay? So, Zoila Molina. Hello, Diego. Here I am still waiting. Yeah, we're waiting too. We're in the same boat, waiting and waiting and waiting. But just be patient. It's just a process, okay? It's just a process. Todd, what does it mean when you get a receipt number from NC and from US? What NCIS? What is NCIS? You mean USCIS? USCIS, they'll give you a receipt number, NOA1. The receipt number is going to be a 13-digit number. The first 3 letters are letters. Like WAC means it went to California, and then there's other letters if it went to Texas. And then those other numbers have specific meanings. And I made a video about it which I've got in our video file somewhere. I don't know if you subscribe to the channel or not. You don't have to, but if you do, you could probably find the video which explains what the receipt number is from USCIS. I made a video about it to explain it. Okay. They deny my K1 because we did not meet before we apply. Okay, yeah. So once you meet first face to face, you qualify for the visa. As long as you don't mess up your visa package and don't forget to sign the form I-129F, make sure you include all your paperwork and everything, and include pictures and boarding passes and hotel receipts and receipts proving that you were face to face during that period of time. You're good to go. You're good to go. Let's see, baby. My fiance got to Nigeria 3 days ago, and same day we got RFE or notice of intent from USCIS. Please, what evidence do you think they might need from us? I don't know. That's it. So he got to Nigeria, and then the day he arrived in Nigeria, you got an RFE. Now, did he have to go back to the United States to see what's in the letter from the immigration? I don't know what that could be. You need to have one of your friends who's checking your mail open up that letter and see what's inside it, and maybe you can take care of it in Nigeria. But usually when you get an RFE, you have to include the cover sheet with the RFE with the response to the RFE. Okay, so yeah, you need to investigate that. So, I don't know what it could be, Alicia, baby, Barbara. I don't know what that could be. It's just it's unfortunate that he got to Nigeria. Greg Lamping, aside from the $535 filing fee for the I-129F, what other fees are there for K1? Okay, well, what happens next is that when you get your NOA2 letter, then you're gonna have to pay a filing fee to the U.S. Embassy. I believe your fiance is in Colombia, so you're just gonna pay a visa fee to the U.S. Embassy in Bogota. You can pay it at the embassy, or you can pay it online. And I can't remember, the visa fees are going to increase in price next month, so I don't know what it's going to increase to, but it's going to go up a little bit. But it's not a bunch of money. So you pay the filing fee, the visa fee at the embassy in Bogota, and then you schedule the interview and you do the DS-160. Print the confirmation page that you filled out the DS-160. Your beneficiary needs to bring that DS-160 confirmation page to the visa interview for the face-to-face. Okay, so it's the next thing you're going to pay will be the visa fee at the embassy. Afif Raven, hey Digel, you need to meet in person before you apply for the K1 at least one time, right? Within 2 years. So if you meet face-to-face, with your beneficiary, Mr. Sponsor, don't wait 2 years and a day before you file your K1 visa package, because then you've gone past the 2 years. You got to file it within that 2 year period of meeting face to face. Like in my case, I was with Karina for 1 month and 5 months and 10 months, but I filed the K1 visa about 4 days after I got back from Colombia after spending 5 months with her. That's what we did. Zoila Molina, could you explain what happens after you get the appointments? Also, could you elaborate on what some red flags could be? What happens after you get the appointments? Well, you gotta, once you get your NOA2 letter, and then you get the ready status from the embassy, then you gotta schedule your visa interview. But first, you gotta pay the visa fee, fill out the DS-160, print the confirmation page, and then you go to the visa interview. Red flags at the visa interview could be, messing up the questions. The embassy officer, the embassy consular officer could ask your beneficiary, where was the first place you met each other? Do you remember the date? And if he or she can't remember the date when you met for the first time, or if your sponsor has been married in the past before, they may ask you, did you know that your sponsor was married before and divorced? If your beneficiary better know about that, okay? That would be a red flag if they don't. The consular officer could ask you, what is the how many brothers and sisters does your sponsor have? Like I got a brother. I got one brother that lives down the road here. Um, it's it's all kinds of questions they can ask you. Just be calm, be relaxed, and remember, they're going to try to trip you up. The embassy officer may ask you, um, how was your wedding? And you're like, what? I'm not married. I'm at a fiance visa interview. But they may try to trick you, because some people are stupid enough to get married before their K1 visa interview. They realize they messed up, and then they try to hide it. Okay, you can't travel on a K1 visa if you guys are married. You got to be single. Okay. Let me see. Hey Diego, I'm waiting for K1 approved. Can send my fiance invitation for my child's birthday. Sure. You can get a B2 visa to attend a birthday event, but it's up to the embassy official if he approves the visa or not. But you can apply. Well, you're absolutely, that's no problem. Licia, baby, Barbara, all right, there you. Thank you and good night. Okay, Licia, baby. Markeisha Smith, a friend of mine, received her NOA2 in February, but still hasn't seen an open date for an interview in Senegal. Yeah, it's tough. Senegal's they're still getting over the backlog of COVID. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You'll get your turn. Everybody's going to get their turn in front of the embassy officer. Let's see here. Markeisha, makes me wonder if the increased speed of cases processed causes a decreased speed of certain embassies. Well, every embassy has a different workload. For example, the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, Mexico, has got more work to do than the U.S. Embassy in Belgium or the U.S. Embassy in the Netherlands. Okay, so it depends on the embassy workload. Susie Galdamez, question. Pregunta. Question. Okay, Susie, what's the question? I'm here to help you. Greg Lamping, do you suggest doing a practice DS-160 before getting the approval letter? Well, yeah, just don't submit it. Okay, you can do that. The DS-160 is an easy form to do. Okay, it's just basically a DS-160 is your beneficiary applying for her K1 visa. They're going to ask her questions about her family. Where does she work? What's her education level? Does she have a college degree? Has she left the country? What countries has she visited? They're going to ask questions like, what's her Facebook page profile? What's her Instagram profile? Things like that. Yeah, you can do a practice DS-160. Just don't submit it. You don't want to submit it, because then that's it. Then you're going to have to go backpedal and try to fix it if there's any mistakes. Let's see. Susie Galdamez. My fiance is from Nigeria, but can he go to any clinic for his medical? No. He has to go to a clinic for his medical exam by a civil surgeon authorized by the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria. Okay. So go to the U.S. Embassy website, Google U.S. Embassy Nigeria, and then go under visas, and then look for approved doctors for your medical exams. Okay. If he gets his medical exam by somebody other than an approved doctor by the embassy, it will be null and void, and you could lose your visa in that scheduled interview. You have to wait 3 or 4 months for another interview. Okay, so make sure you get your medical exam done by a doctor approved by the U.S. Embassy. Karina will get her medical exam done. She has a choice of 2 doctors in Bogota that the U.S. Embassy has approved for the medical exams. So make sure you get the doctor that's approved by the embassy, and that's every country in the world, not just Nigeria. Zoila Molina, thank you for all the information provided. Not a problem. Glad to help. I've been there, done that. This is my second rodeo. I'm having fun. It's not easy, but you basically you're on the back of the calf, off the back of the Bronco, and you're holding on until you get your visa in the passport. So don't let go. It's going to be bouncing around. You're going to be thrown around. Just don't let go, and then you get your visa and relax. Okay. Christian, hi Diego. This information is for who might need it. I received the RFE, and it took 16 days from the day USCIS received my response to get approved. There you go. 2 weeks, get an RFE, respond to it properly and quickly. In 2 weeks, you get it cleared up and on the way. Zoila Molina, hello Karina. Saludos y no olvides. No, Karina won't forget you. Not at all. She knows she's at work right now. She's probably watching the live stream on her TV in her ice cream store. Okay, she's at work and she probably switched it on. They got this big flat TV in her ice cream store. So I'm broadcasting live right now in Bogota, Colombia. Ooh, how scary is that? Okay. Gevorg Avetisian. March 18th, 2022, MVC, Cali. When approximately will get approved? Okay. March 18th, 2022. So around April, May. So this month or next month, Gevorg, you should be hearing from USCIS this month. Susie Galdamez, got it. Thanks. No problem. Atur M. Hello, Mr. Diego. Hello, Atur. Remind everybody where you are from. Gevorg, thank you, sir. No problem. No problem. Yeah, you're pretty close, Gevorg, to getting your NOA2 letter. Probably this month, next month. Very close. Okay. So you are at the finish line. Then the next thing you got to do is wait for 2 or 3 months for the National Visa Center to send you the welcome letter. Atur from Algeria. Absolutely. We love our friends in Algeria. Beautiful Algeria. And the immigration process is not the easiest thing to do. But once your beneficiary, once your fiance gets in the United States and you get home and you get all your wedding plans done, here's what I recommend you do. Okay? Here's my recommendation. Get married, get your adjustment of status, and all that stuff done in the first 3 months. Okay? If you do it in the first 3 months before your I-94 expires, now the Form I-94 is the legal entry form into the United States. Wait a couple of weeks, print it, get from the Border and Customs and Border Patrol site, print your I-94. If you can get married and get your adjustment of status done and everything done before the I-94 expires, which is 3 months, and if you put together a strong adjustment of status package, there's a good chance you won't have to go for another interview with an immigration officer. They'll just mail you your green card, okay, your beneficiary. They'll just mail the green card to her or to him. If you get married in 3 months, well, you have to get married in 3 months, but if you adjust the status in 3 months, put together a strong adjustment of status paperwork, put your wife or husband, new wife or husband on the electric bill, on the mortgage to the house or the deed to the house, on the rental agreement to the house, if you're in an apartment or in a townhouse, whatever you want to put together a strong package showing you guys are together. Okay, put her on the phone bill, the electric bill, the gas bill, the homeowners association. Get her name or his name on everything, and then get evidence of all that, and then get mail coming to the house with your fiance's or now wife's name on it. Include that in your adjustment of status, and I'm pretty sure you won't have to get another interview. No more scary immigration interviews. But you got to put it together right, do it right. I made videos about it. Cecilia Gomez, what's the time now for K1? Is it faster? It's 14 months. The average K1 visa processing time from NOA1 to NOA2 is 14 months. There's a few people 15 months. There's a few people 13 months, but the average is 14 months, okay? And then you got to wait for the NVC welcome letter. Then you got to wait for the to schedule the interview at the embassy. And every embassy around the world is working differently. Okay. Greg Lamping, how long does it take to get a social security card after arrival in the U.S. on a K-1? Well, first you got to get married. Okay. Then you have to file for the adjustment of status. And if you get all this done in the first 3 months, then you should see the K-1 visa, the social security card will come in the mail probably with the green card. That's going to be done automatically. So it all depends on what state you live in and how busy they are. Okay. But it could take anywhere from 5 months to a year. Okay. And if you want to file the tax return with your new wife, then I recommend getting an ITN number with the IRS. Call the IRS and say, hey, my wife doesn't have a social security number yet. Can I get an ITN number as a temporary number so I can do my taxes? K Onima. Hi Diego. I can NVC or embassy interview overturn USCIS. No, the NVC cannot overturn USCIS approval. Okay, the NVC do not approve or disapprove visas. The USCIS can do that, and the embassy officer at the embassy in the country of the beneficiary can do that. If the NVC sees a problem with the K-1 visa package when they receive it at the NVC in New Hampshire, if they see a problem, they cannot deny it or disprove it. They'll just send it back to the USCIS for further review. And then you'll get a letter saying that your package was sent back to USCIS. And then the USCIS will get it, and then they will send you a letter and say, we received your K-1 visa package back from the NVC, and this is the reason why. And then they'll give you an opportunity to fix it, or they'll block the visa. But the NVC do not have authority to deny visas. Only USCIS and the embassy officer. Okay, so mainly it's the embassy in the country where the biggest authority lies. Okay, the consular officer has basically control of this whole process at the very end. So don't make the embassy officer mad when you go for your visa interview. So no, the NVC can't overturn your visa. USCIS can, and the embassy officer can in the embassy. This process was not easy at all. I waited over 2 years. Hopefully we'll be my fiance soon. My anxiety has been the worst. Leah, I understand your anxiety, but you got to relax, okay? Don't be having anxiety. You're going to get sick. Don't let immigration make you sick, okay? You're going to get your visa. It's just a waiting game, okay? Let's see here. Jessie Lee, how should I get documents translated to English? She is in Venezuela, but will travel to Bogota. Yeah, my fiance Karina is from Caracas, Venezuela, and she relocated to Colombia in 2018, and we set ourselves up in a bigger apartment. But if you go to a company called the Spanish Group, Google Spanish Group, and then she needs to take a photograph of her, of her birth certificate and her passport. If she has she's got to have a passport, and take a photograph of that and send it to you, and then you can email it to the Spanish Group. It's a company in California, and they have a turnaround time of 3 days. It's about 3 days, and I think they charge me like $24 to translate per page. So birth certificate's 1 page, and you got to get document So if your fiance is from Venezuela, maybe she should think about relocating to Bogota. Once you get your NOA2 letter, try to get her to go to Bogota, go to Colombia on vacation, and stay there, so you're close to the embassy where she doesn't have to go back to Venezuela. Okay. Greg Lamping, good idea on the ITN. Yep, thank you. Yep. So if you need to get documents translated, use the Spanish Group. Now they don't pay me for saying that. They don't give me it. I don't get paid a dime for doing this. Okay. The Spanish Group are a good company. I recommend them. They get the job done. They get a job done right, and they're a certified translation company that's recognized by USCIS. And I got Karina's birth certificate translated into English, the Venezuelan birth certificate, using the Spanish group. Let's see. Atur, after entering the U.S. on a K-1 visa, does it require another medical exam, even if the applicant did all the vaccinations? No. Atur, once you get your family, your fiance, once you get married, okay, you adjust the status. You don't need another medical exam, but you do have to mail in that sealed package that you got, if you still have it, from the if the Border Patrol lets you keep it, mail that in. But you don't have to get a second medical exam. But here's what I'm going to do. I've seen a lot of people, getting an RFE from the USCIS when they adjust the status because they're looking for the medical exam. But the medical exam's not required. So we got new people at immigration who some know the process, some don't know the process. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a second medical exam for Karina. I'm going to get her vaccination records re-signed by the civil surgeon in Pensacola. I know the doctor. Okay, he's authorized by the embassy, by immigration. I'm going to get a second exam done, and I'm going to include it all in the adjustment of status paperwork. So that way, if I get an immigration officer who's still new on the job, and he's still a newbie, and I try to learn how to do this, okay, we won't get an RFE, even though we're in compliance, if we don't submit a second medical exam. To answer your question, you don't need a second medical exam. My recommendation, get a second medical exam and include it in your adjustment of status paperwork with the vaccination paperwork. And make sure the doctor signs everything properly and get a copy of the form. It's I-693. Get a copy of it. Farah Andy Khan. Hi, Diego. Towards the end of 2023 and the beginning of 2024, it is likely for the time to receive the welcome letter to get shorter. Yeah. But when October 2023 gets here, USCIS works under a fiscal year, not under a calendar year. I'm pretty sure they're going to receive a bunch more money from the Congress, even though technically it's a self-funded operation, and more employees are going to get hired, and the process is going to speed up. In October 2023, you're going to see 2024 applicants getting this turnaround time in 6 to 8 months, not like we've been waiting and you guys have been waiting. Let's see. Or is the duration of the welcome letter phase and the sending of the package going to be the same? I don't know. It all depends on NVC. If NVC hire more people, train more. Man, you got to train these people too. You just don't want to throw somebody into the wolf's den and say, okay, adjudicate this visa. I want somebody who knows what they're doing. I would rather wait a month longer and get it done right without an RFE than to have somebody who doesn't know what they're doing mess it all up and create a big mess. The mosquito guy. My fiance lives in the Philippines. If I move to the Philippines and we get married, can we apply for spousal visa while I live in the Philippines with her? Okay, you can do that, mosquito guy, but you got to make sure you have a domicile in the United States of America. When you fill out your I-130 form for the spousal visa, when you fill out where do you live, your address better be in the United States of America, not in the Philippines. You can be in the Philippines on an extended vacation. Like I spent 10 months in Colombia, Bogota, Colombia. And before that, I spent 5 months in Bogota, Colombia. And before that, I spent a month in Colombia. But when I filed my K-1 visa, I live in Florida. I'm a domiciled in the United States for forever, right? So you got to maintain your domicile in the USA. But you can do it, sure, not a problem. Just make sure when you fill out the paperwork that you put down your home address as somewhere USA. Chopper Holly, Spanish group is awesome. I used them already. Chopper Holly gave an endorsement to the Spanish group. They're a good company. Okay, they're a good company. And I've used them so many times. Like Karina has 4 years of college at University in Caracas, Venezuela. So I got her mom to go to the college to download all her college transcripts. And then they got them to me in Colombia. And then I got them translated into English. And then I included that in the K-1 visa package. So the immigration officer, when he adjudicates Karina's K-1 visa package, he's going to see she's college educated. And that's important. Let's see here. LSVTV, same. Kellen Adams, last year, May, my fiance applied for the K-1 visa. She sent it all the documents, and until now we get no word from USCIS. Okay, so you should have received an NOA1 letter, Kellen Adams. You should have received an NOA1 letter within a week to 2 weeks after you filed the K-1 visa, and then you have to wait 13 to 14 months for the NOA2 letter. So you're going to be hearing from USCIS probably June or July of this year. Greg Lamping, if you are competent to translate your own documents, all you need is the following statement. I don't recommend doing that, Greg. Get a certified translator to do it. Don't you do it. Even if I speak Spanish. I could translate documents all day long in Spanish and in Italian, but I am making sure that if I get a brand new immigration officer looking at my K-1 visa package, that he follow the USCIS directions, and it says in the USCIS directions, certified translator. So use a certified translator. It's only $24. Pay the money, and it will save you a big headache. Damian Began, we filed the I-129F back at the beginning of January 2022. We're now well over 15 and a half months, and it's still untouched. I guess there's absolutely no way of knowing how much longer it will take. Okay, if you are at 15 and a half months, the USCIS website is saying that some visas are taking 16 and a half months to get adjudicated. So it looks like you've fallen into that 16 and a half month window. So if you are at 15 and a half months, then I'm pretty sure, in fact, I'll put $5 on the table here that you're going to hear from USCIS at the end of May. Relax. You're in that. You unfortunately fell into that 16.5 month window. When you get into that 16.5 month window, immigration's going to respond to you. I'm sure of it. They're not just ignoring you. They can't. Congressional law does not allow immigration to ignore a visa package. They have to respond to it eventually. So, just got to be patient. I'm sorry that happened to you. I could be in the same boat, man. I don't know. I got a lot of stuff in my K-1 visa package. Remember, I had to include a bunch of stuff in my K-1 visa package from the first K-1 visa package that I did. That didn't work out, So she went back home to her home country. So I had to write a letter of explanation. This happened, that happened. Here's my NOA1 letter, my NOA2 letter from the first K-1 visa. This is when I first applied to K-1 visa. It was like 2016. Then they're going to make sure that 2 years have passed before I could apply for the second K-1 visa, which it has. So there's a lot of farming that's got to be done on my K-1 visa package. So mine may take a bit longer, but that's okay. It's into its 13th month of waiting. So we're patient. Once we get the NOA2 letter, I'm flying to Colombia. And I hope I don't get an RFE while I'm in Colombia, because then I'm going to have to fly back to see what's in the RFE. So Damien, you hang in there, okay? So January 20, if you're at 15 and a half months and you got another month to go. Jesse Lee, can you do a video on how you made your packet? Thank you for your time. We are almost the same situation, and I do enjoy seeing your videos. Jesse Lee, I think about 6 months ago, I made a video on how to put together a K-1 visa package. I made a video on how to put together a K-1 visa package in 35 minutes. And then I made a video on how to put together a K-1 visa package in 14 and a half minutes. So those videos are out there. I don't know if you've subscribed or not to the channel. You don't have to subscribe, but if you have, it may be easier for you to find those videos. But I can make another one to update for everybody. If you don't feel like, digging through all those videos, then I could make another video on how to do that. Let's see here. Zoila Molina, thumbs up. All right. Damien, Thanks, buddy. I got to quit my job, empty my house, and ship everything I own to Washington State. So the waiting is getting to us a bit. Thanks for the live questions and answers. Yeah, Damien, I can understand that. And I don't know. Hopefully, Karina, when she gets to Florida, she can handle the hot weather here because it's hot in the summertime. And she's been used to living in the mountains of Bogota in the cold. So hopefully, she gets used to this hot weather. I may have to move too to a cooler climate. Go figure on that. I like it warm. But good luck with your move and to Washington State. Okay. Make sure you tell immigration where you're at, your new address. Don't forget. Okay. They need to know where you're going to be. Yes, please. The video will be very helpful. Okay, Zoila. Okay. I'll make another video. I'll make a video on how to put together a K1 visa package. Okay, not a problem. I'll do an updated video. I'll make it this week. Well, today's Sunday. I'll make it starting next week. K Messenger, keep up the great help. Have a great Sunday. Hopefully you'll get an NOA2 letter very soon. Yeah, we'll get it. We're patient. I think mine's probably going to take 15 or 16 months because I've got so much stuff that they got to dig through in my K1 visa package. Like I said, this is my second rodeo. So they have more stuff to investigate. You know, like on my first K1 visa package, they're going to probably take the NOA2 letter, and then that was for the K1, and then I got the approval letter for the CR1. So they're going to go and dig up the receipt numbers, and they're going to punch it in their computers to make sure that they're being cleaned out, that the cases have been, handled and closed out, because you can only have one K1 visa in process at a time. Okay. So they're going to check all that first, and that could take them a couple of days. Now, I'm not worried about it because I know it's already been done, okay? So I'm not worried about it, but they have to do their job. So that's the way it is. You know, it's a great day to have this benefit. Just imagine having this benefit. You know, a lot of people, they get mad at immigration and they bash USCIS. They hate immigration. They talk badly about them, but they're just following the law that's been put in place by the Congress of the United States. USCIS, Homeland, is basically Homeland Security. They're following the law put in place by the U.S. Congress. U.S. Congress says, you jump 6 feet for a K1 visa, you jump 6 feet. If you jump 5 feet, you don't get your K1 visa. That's basically how it boils down, okay? So immigration are understaffed and they're overworked. They got all these visas arriving at the lockbox in Dallas, thousands and thousands and thousands. Can you imagine? How tired were you after you put your K1 visa package together? How tired were you? Did you have a headache? Did you have a headache? Now multiply that by, let's suppose one immigration officer adjudicates 200 or let's say 100 K1 visa packets in a day. He has to go through 100 K1 visa packages. So in the morning, he's had his coffee or she's had her coffee and they're wide awake and they're doing a pretty fast job. And then by the afternoon, they're probably sick and tired of looking at passports and birth certificates and I-129Fs. And they're probably sick and tired of doing their job, and they just want to go, and they're watching the clock. Is it time to go home? Everybody's a human being, okay? So be patient and just be grateful that the U.S. Congress has given American citizens like myself authority to marry a foreign national and bring her to the United States. It's a great benefit, okay? I'm thankful to them. If it takes 2 years, okay, it sucks the time waiting, but thank you for the benefit. Todd, can you apply for a travel visa while you are waiting on your K1 visa? Sure. Your fiance can get a B2 travel visa, tourist visa, but remember, it's up to the embassy consular officer to give permission for your beneficiary to come to the USA for a vacation while waiting for your K1 visa. But you can do it. You know, she might get a few extra questions at the airport. You know, imagine she lands in Miami. The Miami immigration officer is going to punch in her passport number, and it's going to show she's in the process of a K1. And he may ask her some questions like, You here as a tourist to see your fiance? Yes. Um, just answer the questions. But there's no law against it. I personally prefer to travel to Colombia. It's much easier for me to get on a plane with my U.S. passport, although I really don't care too much for the immigration people in Colombia. They're not the most polite people on the planet. I don't think they like Americans. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, it's easier for me to fly to Colombia. Anyway, if Karina was to apply for a tourist visa, it would take 550 days just to get an embassy interview. And in 550 days from today, she's going to be in the United States as my wife. So it's no point. K Messenger, how long did it take to get your NOA-1 letter on your first attempt? Okay, on my first K1 visa, it took 10 days. It was like just under 2 weeks to get my NOA-1 letter. And I got my NOA-2 letter in 6 months. And then I had the visa interview set up and scheduled within 8 weeks. And I got an RFE. I received an RFE because I didn't tell immigration, how did I meet my first person? I said, well, we met online, but I didn't explain explicitly what website that was. So they wanted to know. So I got an RFE. Well, which website did you meet your, beneficiary on? Sorry. So I found my credit card receipt for this website because you had to pay to join the site. I printed my credit card receipt showing that I paid to join this website. And then I wrote a letter explaining here's where I met her online for the first time. And then I mailed it back. And it was 2 weeks, they said, okay, your visa's approved. So the entire process for my K1 visa, the first time around, was 8 months and 2 weeks from NOA-1 to the embassy interview and her getting on a plane and flying to the USA. Let's say 9 months total processing. So there you go. Now I'm at the 13-month mark and still waiting and waiting. But that's because of COVID. And there's a backlog. Lissy D, hi Diego. Since my fiance will not be able to work for a while, will I claim him as a dependent on my taxes next year? Yeah. If you guys are married, yeah. You got to have a social security number. But if you don't have a social security number, get an ITN number. Absolutely. It's not a problem as long as you guys are married. But you got to have a way for the IRS to identify your husband or wife, for everybody watching. Okay. So when Karina gets to the United States, we'll get married. Here's what we're going to do. When I get my NOA-2 letter in my hand, I'm going to wait for 4 weeks just in case I get an RFE. Just because I got an NOA-2 letter doesn't mean they have an oopsie and say, oh, by the way, we want to see this. So I'm going to get my NOA-2 letter. I'm going to wait a month. And then once a month has passed, I'm going to be pretty safe that I didn't get an RFE. Then I'm going to fly to Bogota. And I'm going to hang out with Karina and make videos for you guys in Bogota. Karina has the laptop. And I have a Canon M50 camera. And I got all the lighting and all this setup in Colombia. Most of my clothes are in Colombia. So I got to keep rotating clothes. My closet's pretty bare here. Everything of mine is in Colombia. So I'll get my NOA-2 letter, wait a month, no RFE. I'm on a plane to Colombia. And then I'm going to be online waiting for the ready letter in Colombia. And when I get the ready letter from the embassy, then I'm going to be online every day trying to schedule an appointment to pay the visa fee, et cetera, et cetera. And then once we get the medical exam done by the civil surgeon approved by the embassy, we'll get her in for her medical exam, get her in for this visa interview. She'll turn in her Venezuelan passport and get her K1, and then I'll set up the lot. Where do I want to pick up the passport? Online, it gives you a place where an address where you pick up the passport once the visa's been punched into the passport page. Then we'll pick up the passport, and then we'll go say goodbye to family because all of Karina's family, all of her brothers and nephews and nieces, they all live in Colombia. They don't. They couldn't live in Venezuela. They like to have things like heat, water, food, medicine. The basic necessities in life. So, the current situation in Venezuela makes that pretty much impossible to live there. So they moved to Colombia, and by the grace of the good Lord, the Colombian government gave them permission to live there legally. Okay. Let's see here. Marianne, I didn't include how my fiance and I met. Will there be a problem, or will we get an RFE? Now, when you wrote, no, did you write a letter of intent to get married? When you wrote your letter of intent to get married, that's usually where you include, where you met each other. I don't think it's going to be a problem. As long as you wrote a strong letter of intent to get married, 2 letters of intent to get married, one from you, both of you guys need to submit that. And usually you include that in the letter of intent to get married. But I think you'll be all right. The embassy officer is going to probably ask you at the face-to-face. Farah Andikan, sorry I missed that. Did you say before COVID the entire process took 9 months to get the visa itself? It took me 9 months for the whole thing before COVID. I got my first K1 visa from NOA1 to embassy interview in 9 months. And she was on a plane a week after that. I remember it clear as day. It was in 2016. And then, it was quick. 9 months, less than a year, whole process. And then, it is what it is. Well, I'm in my second K1 visa. And this time I'm so grateful for Karina. Karina is my soulmate. I can't wait for her to get to the United States. And we will continue to make videos, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to abandon everybody when we get, our process completed. I'm still going to make the videos to help new people get through this process, because I feel like it's very important. And I feel like I can be a voice for you guys. If you feel like immigration is ignoring you, you feel like you've been abandoned by the USCIS process, I want to assure you that immigration hasn't abandoned you or forgotten about you. They're just not talking to you. So I'll talk to you instead and help you through it. Okay? Immigration, let them do their job of processing visas. And I put this channel together for you guys to help you get through this process. Some folks, need to have someone to talk to. And I know it's a difficult thing to go through. And I've been through it. This is the second time. So I've been through the boxing ring twice. So I'm used to it. So I know now exactly how the process works. And I'm going to help you guys get through this difficult process. Okay. Let's see. How do you get an ITN? You call the IRS. Okay, Messenger, if you need an ITN number for your fiance, you get married and you think you're not going to get a social security number, call the IRS and say, I need an ITN number. Marianne, yes, but I haven't included how we met. I think probably what will happen is you'll get the question at the embassy interview. I don't think they're going to send you an RFE asking you how you met. I think you'll be all right. But they're going to probably ask you at the embassy interview, well, when did you first meet each other? LSVTV, Diego, you are a godsend. Whenever I stress, I come on YouTube to watch your videos. They are encouraging. Well, we're glad. That's it. I want you guys to know, if you qualify for the visa, you're going to get the visa. It could be in 13 months. It could be in 16 and a half months. But if you take 24 months, if you take 2 years, 24 months, most people have car payments for how long? 4 years? So this is less time than a car payment. So you got 2 years. Somewhere in that 24-month window, you, Mr. Beneficiary, are going to be in the United States, married and happy with your new life. Somewhere in 24 months. Now, before COVID, I would make this YouTube channel and say within a year. But I can't say that now because of COVID created all these problems. So now I say within 24 months, somewhere in there, you're going to be in the USA. So if you can be patient in that 24-month period, okay, and understand that you're going to get it, your visa. Don't go in these Facebook groups where people scare you to death. Oh, you're not going to get your visa because you did this or you did that. No, they are, number one, not immigration attorneys or immigration officers. Okay, and they get kicked scaring people. Okay, you'll get your visa if you qualified for the benefit. You just got to wait out the time. Like I said, my visa is going to take longer than this person's visa. I got a lot more stuff that they got to go through. Okay. Jason Mabry, my lawyer mistyped my fiance's city. I fixed it with ink. Will that be an issue? No, you can do that. You can use black ink, but I would fire my attorney. Jason, I would not ever use an attorney to file a K-1 visa because you're putting a layer of bureaucracy into your future. Okay. The K-1 visa process is easy. The paperwork is easy. And I'll make a video on how to put together a K-1 visa package the easy way without getting RFE and without getting a denial. I'll do that. Get rid of your attorney and take control of your K-1 visa. Because now if you have an attorney running the show, immigration is going to contact your lawyer. What if your lawyer is busy? What if he's on vacation? What if your lawyer is on vacation and the USCIS send you an RFE? They're not going to send it to you. They're going to send it to the attorney. The attorney's in the Bahamas on a 2-week vacation, gets back to his office, and there's a letter from immigration saying they needed to see this RFE a week ago. Uh-oh. That's a problem. Fire your attorney unless you have a criminal background where you need an attorney to help you through the process. But if you don't have any criminal background, if you have you're squeaky clean, you got no felonies, you don't need an attorney. I would not trust an attorney with my K-1 visa package as far as I can throw them. And then no disrespect to immigration attorneys, because I know they do a good job because they go through all this schooling. And I went to the school of hard knocks. I know how to do this process like the back of my hand. And I understand that putting another layer of bureaucracy in between me and my Karina ain't going to happen. If immigration has a question about my K-1 visa, they're going to be contacting me, not some attorney in Pensacola. They're going to contact me, Mr. Ross. Diego, you messed up here. Fix it. And I don't have to wait for my attorney to call me and say, we got to fix the problem. I already know. Just my opinion. Okay. Marianne, will business deductions from my job count toward my yearly salary? I wanted to make sure I can earn enough for the visa income requirements. Okay, now you need to immigrate. That's a question for your CPA. That's a CPA question. Okay. Business deductions count towards. Now, if you include your business deductions as income when you file your taxes, then I'm not a CPA, but my best guess would be that it will count. USCIS are going to look at your tax return, your tax transcripts. What's the income on the tax transcripts? If your business deductions are included as income in your tax transcript and they exceed the minimum income requirements, then you're good to go. But double check that with the CPA. But I think you'll be fine. Margot Dunnigan. Hello, Diego. I had a denial for my K-1 because my attorney suggested us to do a waiver. We were not able to meet because the borders were closed in Algeria. Okay. Number one, fire your attorney. Number two, don't do a waiver because immigration will take your $600 for the waiver or whatever it costs and then deny the waiver. Here's the deal. You got to meet face to face with your beneficiary within 2 years of filing your K-1 visa. If borders are closed, like there's a war in Sudan right now, the whole country of Sudan is falling apart. Okay? Is that going to be an excuse for getting a waiver for not meeting face-to-face for a K-1 visa? Immigration will say no. You can go to Chad. You can go to South Sudan. You can go to Egypt. You could catch a flight out of there to Saudi Arabia. Meet there. Just because the borders were closed in Algeria will not qualify you if you haven't met face-to-face, okay? You got to meet face-to-face. If the borders were closed in Algeria, then you go to a different country, okay? Now the COVID is over. I'm sure the borders are open in Algeria, and reapply, meet face-to-face with your, meet face-to-face and then reapply for the K-1 visa before 2 years has passed. Don't send in any waivers. Get rid of your attorney. He's taking money from you, just meet face-to-face and reapply for your K-1 visa. And you'll get approved as long as you qualify with the income and the other stuff. Jason Mabry, thank you. No problem, Jason. Margot Dunnigan, then I did visit once before. What? Borders were open twice, but we were denied. I am worried about reapply. We were recommended a spousal with a new lawyer consultation. So you saying you applied for your K-1 visa after you met face-to-face and you were denied, even though then that wasn't the reason that your visa was denied. I'm confused here. Then I did visit once before, borders were open twice, but we were denied. But did you submit the visa within the 2 years? It's got to be within 2 years. If more than 2 years passed, then they won't approve it. Vitor Saturnino. Hey, Vitor. Jason Mabry, I had a felony arrest, but charges were dropped. Will that be a reason for denying a K-1 visa? You will have to write a letter. If you haven't applied for your K-1 visa yet, go to the courthouse. Go to wherever the court documents are. Get copies of the court documents of that felony. Write a letter of explanation. This is what happened. And the charges were dropped. And then include that in your K-1 visa and hope for the best. It depends on what the felony was for. Okay? Domestic abuse, child abuse, drug trafficking, things like that, forget about it. But if it was just something stupid and you're honest about it and you're upfront about it and you write a letter of explanation and get all your court documents showing the case was dropped and everything was closed out, you should be good. You'll be good to go. I don't see a problem as long as you explain it. Margot Dunnigan, we've met twice now. Okay. Make sure you got your boarding passes, your hotel receipts, your dinner receipts, the visa stamps in the passport. Make sure you got all that. Because when you apply for your K-1 visa, you want to include all the evidence of you guys meeting twice. And that's a strong visa package. And I guess I'll guarantee from my experience that you're probably going to get an approval without an attorney. Joanna Amponasa. Hello, Diego. Do I need to notify USCIS if I get a new job? And will it delay the process? Number one, you don't have to notify USCIS if you get a new job. But when you go to the visa interview, your beneficiary needs to know where you work and how much money you make. Well, as long as your beneficiary tells the immigration officer at the interview, if that person gets asked the question, well, where does your sponsor work? Well, he works here. Okay, yeah, he has a new job, and then bring a letter from the employer saying that you work there. Bring your tax transcripts, 3 years, showing your income for the past 3 years, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Immigration don't care if you change jobs. They just care that you make a sufficient income to support your beneficiary. Okay. And you got to bring that evidence with you to the visa interview. Don't write letters to the service center. Dear USCIS, I have changed my job. They'll get the letter and they'll throw it in the trash. They don't have time to go look for your visa package and change out your paperwork. They don't have time. Just make sure when you fill out your DS1, the I-134 USCIS form I-134, it's your financial documents. You fill it out and say, well, I work here now, and you're fine. So you don't have to tell immigration that you have a new job. Not at all. Miriam A. I hired an attorney and filed the application just to avoid mistakes. Okay, that's fine. If you felt more comfortable doing that, that's no problem. Do you think I should discontinue getting help and just do it myself? Absolutely, yes. Absolutely. Because right now, when immigration get a hold of your package and adjudicate it, they're not going to contact you. They're going to contact your attorney. Okay? I would say, dear Mr. Lawyer, thank you for everything you did for me. Appreciate it. Have a nice day. Good luck. Hasta luego. And then you have to write a letter to USCIS and explain that this person is no longer representing you as your attorney, and all correspondence regarding your K-1 visa now needs to come to you at this address where you live. So then that way, if you get an RFE in the future, or when you get your NOA2 letter, it's not going to sit in your lawyer's mailbox for a week. It's going to be in your mailbox, and you're going to get it that day. Okay? My opinion, when I get my NOA2 letter, it's going to be in my mailbox right here. It's not going to be in any attorney's office in Pensacola, where I got to wait and wait. I've been waiting enough. I'm not waiting anymore. I am in control of Karina's K-1 visa package, not an attorney. Okay? Get rid of your attorney. Notify USCIS your attorney is no longer representing you, and that all correspondence for your visa needs to come to you at this address. Trust me, unless you feel more comfortable with an attorney. That's fine. I mean, that's fine. That's your decision. But me personally, no thank you. M. Jackson 60. If your fiance is pregnant during the process, will that impact you being granted a visa, assuming everything else is correct? We are actually 11 days behind your submission. No, I love the positivity. No, M. Jackson 60. If a fiance is pregnant, that's congratulations. Fantastic news. If the baby is born in a foreign country, make sure that you register the birth with the U.S. Embassy, because that baby will become a U.S. citizen right away. As long as you are domiciled in the USA, Mr. Sponsor, for more than 5 years, your baby will become an automatic U.S. citizen, and the little baby will get a passport, and no K-2 visas required. But it won't speed up the process, and it won't delay the process. It won't change the process. It won't speed it up. It won't slow it down. It just means more paperwork for you. And what the good news is, the baby's a U.S. citizen and doesn't require a K-1, a K-2 visa. Baby gets a passport, U.S. passport. Janiela James, hi Diego, what should the second letter of intent details? The second letter of intent to get married should say that I have been in a relationship with my beneficiary starting here to the present day, and that should be anywhere from 12 months to 2 years or longer. We are both still madly in love. We are both still looking forward to getting married to each other when we arrive in the United States. We are both legally free and able to get married to each other. I am a legal citizen of this country. My sponsor is a U.S. citizen. And we promise to the Homeland Security, U.S. immigration folks, that we promise to get married within 90 days upon arriving in the United States of America. So you're going to just expound upon your first letter of intent to get married with more time and more stuff together. Okay? Instead of saying we've been together for a year, now you can say we've been together for 2 years or 3 years. But you got to include in the letter of intent to get married that you promise to get married in 90 days upon arrival in the USA, that you're still both madly in love with each other. Your relationship has only grown stronger and stronger during this difficult waiting period that you have endured, and things like that. Very simple. Janelle James, should we bring the copies of the statement witness that was part of the petition? Yeah, absolutely. Bring everything that you mailed to the K-1 visa lockbox in Dallas, bring to the embassy interview. Now, the embassy consular officer probably won't ask for it, but they will ask for the divorce decrees, letters of intent to get married, original birth certificates, passports, and things like that. And the photos. You can have 2 years worth of photos. I've got 2 years. Let me see here. I will have close to 3 years worth of photos with Karina when she gets into her face-to-face interview. I got a photo album like this in the back, and I'm going to bring it to Colombia with me when I get the NOA2 letter and bring it to the visa interview. And the immigration officer, she's going to look through it. He, oh wow, dated 2021, oh 2022, 2023. The relationship is real. The evidence is there. Your visa's in the passport. Janiela James, true, I did my petition by myself and got approved. There you go, Janiela. Janiela James gets the Diego thumbs up. K1 visa processing. Good job. Jason Mabry, sorry for all the questions, but you are awesome. Jason, thank you. Well, 5 months waiting on our K1. Will MVC schedule the interview in Ghana? No, you're going to have to schedule the interview, Mr. Jason. But it's easy to do. It's just hurry up and wait. TBD, to be determined. Get on that computer when you get your NOA2. And once you get the ready letter, get in there and look for an opening and schedule the visa appointment. MJ Jackson 60, as long as it doesn't change it, I am good and thank you. No, nothing. MJ Jackson 60, you are good to go. You're good. You're good. Pete B, hi Diego, greetings from frozen Minnesota. Minnesota, the Thousand Lakes up there. Ooh, it's cold in Minnesota. Yep. I love Minnesota from about 30,000 feet when I'm flying over it. And I'm in a warm airplane. Ooh, Minnesota. If I ever go to Minnesota, I would be in the summertime. Okay. And I'd still bring mittens and a jacket just in case. But I know Minnesota is a beautiful place. In the summertime and in the wintertime. I just can't stand cold weather. I can't do it. My body, like I tell Karina, mi cuerpo cerrado. Yo frío, mi cuerpo cerrado. My body closes, shuts down. But yeah, we're going to get you through this K1 visa process, guys. Get rid of your attorneys, okay? And if your attorney has a problem with it, have them email me, okay? I'll talk to our attorneys. I'll tell them my opinion. They do a good job, but they're not necessary. They're only necessary if you have a criminal record. That's a real bad criminal record, and you don't think you're going to get approved for the visa. An attorney will know more stuff than I do to maybe get through some legalities that I don't know to help you get your visa. But if you have a clean slate, no problems, minor traffic violations is no big deal. I mean, I got a speeding ticket in New Mexico in 2001. I think it was 2001. And I ran my FBI check on myself to take a look at my background, and it showed up on my FBI check that I got a speeding ticket in New Mexico in 2001. I think it was in Santa Fe. I'm like, oh, okay. So this is what immigration is going to see. Whoop-de-doo. And that was for my first K1 visa. And it got approved. So you can speed, but don't speed. My fiance is looking forward to her first snow, Pete B. But after 6 months, I bet she will dislike it, like me. Well, if she's in a warm climate right now, I think in a year from now, after her first winter, you and her are going to be putting a for sale sign up in your house and moving to a warmer climate. I get a feeling when Karina suffers her first summer here in Florida, she's gonna be telling me, Diego, we're moving. And that's okay. It's no problem for me. But if you move, you got to tell immigration. You got to let them know where you're at, okay? Until your fiance or to your wife becomes a U.S. citizen or a 10-year green card holder, even a 10-year green card holder. When you're on a 2-year probationary green card, you got to let immigration let them know where you are at, okay? So if you move, notify immigration, and you can do it online. It's easy to do. Janiela James for tax transcripts. A W-2 is 3 years worth. Yeah, 3 years worth of tax transcripts, 3 years worth of W-2s or 1099s. Like I'm on a 1099. I'm a real estate agent. I'm retired from the Navy. And so I get 1099s. Now, if I do any land surveying, I'm a land surveyor assistant. If I get called in to do that, then they pay me with a W-2. But I was in Colombia for 10 months in 2022. So I was just hanging out in Colombia on my Navy retirement. So I wrote a letter of explanation. Well, my income went down because I've been in Colombia for 10 months. And here's all the evidence. Here's all the receipts. And here's the boarding passes when I arrived in Colombia and when I left Colombia. Everything about a K-1 visa is evidence of relationship, evidence of income, and meeting and being together within 2 years before you file the visa. And then do all the things that USCIS asks you to do, and boom, you get your visa. I'm going to make another video on how to put together a K-1 visa for beginners. So that way, you guys, if you haven't filed your K-1 visa yet, you can watch the video with you. It'll be about 20 to 30 minutes. I won't make it a long, laborious, boring. It will be entertaining, but educational. Okay. And I'll do that. I'll put that down on my list of stuff to do. And somebody asked me to go over the Declaration of Financial Support Form I-134. The Declaration of Financial Support Form I-134 is a financial document that I will fill out as the sponsor, promising Homeland Security and the embassy officer in Bogota that I will take care of Karina while she's here in the United States. That I can support her. She's not going to become a public charge. So the first part of the paperwork is, it's going to be about her, and then the second part of the paperwork is going to be about me, how much I make, etc. And they're going to look at the bottom line at the bottom of the form and say, okay, he exceeds the minimum 100% income requirement for the embassy interview. Boom. Okay. If I don't meet the 100%, then they're going to look at my assets and they're going to multiply that by 5 to see if that makes up the difference. So let's suppose I'm short $5,000 worth of assets. Then, if I have five, and I've got obviously more than that, let's suppose I'm short $5,000. If my assets equal $5,000 or above, that will be used to supplement the income. Visa's approved. When you get to the United States, you adjust the status to green card, then you have to be at 125% minimum income. And you can use your assets or a joint sponsor, but that does not apply to the Philippines, okay? All embassies in the world accept assets, etc., unless you are from the Philippines. So if you are from the Philippines with an American citizen sponsor, then it's better for you to get married and go through the CR1 visa process, because that eliminates all of that stress. But like I said, I don't like the CR1 visa. I don't like the spousal visa. But for folks in the Philippines who don't quite meet the income requirements, that's your only real way around this process. Okay. Juan Carlos Parra. Hello, Diego, from Fort Lauderdale. Oh, you guys are flooding down there. There's no gas in Fort Lauderdale. Where's the governor at? Get on the phone. You need gas and you got to fix the flooding. Great job providing info to this community. I've been following you for some time, as my fiance and I are still waiting now, going on 13 months. Yeah, Juan Carlos, while we're in 13 months, you're in 13 months. It's a process, and we wait it out. Hopefully, you get your notification very soon, probably next month, I'm thinking, for you. Hopefully for us, too. But if we have to wait a bit longer, I know the reason why. It's because we got a lot of stuff for them to investigate. Janiela James, let me see. Juan Carlos Parra. I've been able to work remote from Colombia on and off as we wait for our welcome letter. Fantastic. That's good. Is there any good news coming from USCIS? The good news is they're approving visas in 14 months. Is the embassy in Bogota moving any faster? No embassies anywhere in the world are moving fast, but Bogota is processing K-1 visas and CR1 visas, but not fast. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get on a plane and go to Colombia. When I get my NOA2 letter, then I'm going to wait for an RFE. You never know. If I don't get an RFE in a month, I'm going to fly to Bogota, go to my apartment in Bogota and stay with Karina and wait out. I'm allowed to in Colombia for 3 months. Then if I don't hear anything, if I can't schedule the appointment at the embassy, et cetera, I don't hear from the embassy in 3 months, I'll jump on a plane, fly to Panama, spend the weekend in Panama, or maybe I'll go to Brazil, spend the weekend in Rio de Janeiro, then fly back to Bogota, and then I'll get a new visa to start over a new 3-month window, which should be sufficient time for me to get the interview scheduled and get Karina in the USA. We're going to fly from Bogota on Avianca Airlines to Miami. Then I'm just going to rent a car because we got a cat. We're not going to forget our cat. And American Airlines won't let me bring our cat. Delta won't let me bring our cat. I'm like, what's the problem with you guys? I've been flying on American Airlines for 15 years. And then all of a sudden we can't carry our cat home. And then I call Avianca. No, Karina, calls Avianca Airlines. Yeah, you can bring your cat. Just got to buy the cat a ticket. Okay, I'll buy the cat a ticket. We're not going to leave Tokyo behind in Colombia. Let's see here. So if I'm gonna keep making YouTube videos. When I go to Colombia, guys, I'm not gonna just shut down shop. I got a computer system in Colombia just like I do here. So I'll keep making videos for you guys. I'll do a live show for you from Colombia with Karina. Karina, she'll be sitting right next to me. She doesn't speak English, so if you can speak Spanish, you guys talk to Karina in Spanish, and I'll just sit here and then I'll talk to you guys in English. Janiela James, can you repeat about the assets? I'm not understanding. Is that when you fill out Form I-134? Okay, Janiela, if you meet the income requirements of 100% minimum income requirements for the federal guidelines, you don't have to include your assets on Form I-134. If you don't meet the income requirements, let's suppose you are $5,000 short, you can use your assets that are worth $5,000 to make up that difference to get your K-1 visa. And when you get to the United States, you have to be at 125%. And then you can use your assets. You can only use, if you have 2 cars, you can use 1 car. If you have 1 car, you cannot use the car. You can only use the car as an asset if you have 2 cars. If you can use your house, you can use your bank statements. You can use your bank account. You can use, if you have a painting collection, or whatever, or your furniture. If you can get it appraised and it meets, and that dollar value exceeds the difference that you're short on your income, it's got to be 5 times the difference now. So if you are $1,000 short, you're going to have to be 5 times that, which is $5,000 to make up the difference using the assets. All right. I'll just make a video on the I-134 and explain it to you guys. Let's see here. No way, Jose. Hi, we're scheduled for a K-1 visa interview in June. Congratulations. Very good. He's divorced. Okay, no problem. Make sure you have a copy of his final divorce decree, a certified copy of his divorce decree, final. His home country can't get this document due to civil unrest. Then you have to get a letter from his country's government explaining that. You got to have that document. You got to have something, or else immigration will not approve your K-1 visa. You got to have something. I don't know what to say. Contact the government. Which country? Which country? Are we talking about Sudan here? Syria? Communist Cuba? Let's see here. The government is Haiti. There's not a way to get it due to the kidnappings. Haiti. There's got to be a way to get a copy of the divorce decree in Haiti. There's got to be a way. Even, can't you go to there's a local government office in Haiti you can go to and ask for a copy of it? certified copy, you got to have it. You got to have it. You got to get it somehow. Okay. Let me investigate that more for you. Okay. I'll investigate that a little bit more for you. No way, Jose. Bethlehem test effect. Could you explain about joint sponsor? Sure. What if you don't meet the 100% income requirement, the minimum federal guideline for income, you can get a joint sponsor to sponsor your beneficiary. If you can't afford it, get a joint sponsor who can afford it, and that joint sponsor will have to fill out an I-134 form and sign it and date it. You're going to need 3 years worth of tax returns from that sponsor, and you're going to need a copy of his passport to show U.S. citizenship. Okay. And you're going to need bank statements to showing. You got to show evidence from your joint sponsor that the joint sponsor is able to support your beneficiary if your income doesn't quite make it. Okay. It's easy to do. You can have your brother, your sister, your next door neighbor, your buddy at work, whoever. But they just got to make sufficient income to qualify for the visa. And you're going to use their I-134, and then you fill out your I-134, and that shows you don't quite meet the income requirements, but you got to have both forms for immigration. They are closed. Okay, so the government offices are closed, and you are not able to get a copy of the divorce decree. Okay. Is there any way you can write a letter and explain that? You gotta be able to explain that why you can't get that divorce decree. You gotta have it. There's got to be a way to explain it. There's no copy at the house anywhere. Like I said, I'll investigate it for you. Mariam A, if I got a job just a few months before submitting the income requirement to the embassy, will that be all right? Or do they require a person to have been working for a certain time? What they care about is that you make the minimum income requirements when you go to your face-to-face interview. Okay, you go to your face-to-face interview. When you fill out your USCIS form I-134, at the bottom of the USCIS form I-134, the financial support document is going to say, how much money do you make in a year? Well, you're going to calculate it out. I make this much each month, figure it out, and you write that number in there. And if that number exceeds the minimum income requirements, then you're good to go. Just make sure you got tax transcripts. Yes, I have. Yeah, let's see here. Thank you for Bethlehem. Thank you so much. Other questions? There's no problem. Ask away, guys. I'm running over my hour and a half, but I'm going to stick around a little bit longer for you guys, okay? No way, Jose. Yes, I have a letter to explain it. I appreciate you helping to follow up. I've tried everything. Been waiting for over a year for this one document. Okay, if you have evidence that you have tried for over a year to get this document and the information, and you are getting emails from this government office in Haiti saying they're closed, they cannot provide the information, then you're good to go. I looked it up over here. As long as you have evidence from the Haitian government says we are closed, we have no way to get to this document, and etc. And then you get your friends who can certify the divorce is real, have them write affidavits certifying the divorce is real, and have them sign it, get it notarized, whatever the procedures are in Haiti, get it notarized, and then bring those letters. Get 2 letters of affidavit and the letter from the government where you've been trying, where they're saying they're closed, they don't have the document, they can't get to it. You'll be fine. Okay. Bethlehem Tesfaye, do you have to still meet physically if it's already 2 years between the approval and the interview appointment? If you have filed your K-1 visa and you met within 2 years of seeing each other, then you're qualified for the visa. So no, you don't have to, if it takes another 2 years to get your visa interview, that's not your fault. Okay. But the embassy officer may ask you the question, when was the last time you saw your sponsor or beneficiary? Okay. It's best to make at least 3 trips in this whole process. First time, and then the second time, and then on the second time you file the visa, and then on the third time go back a few months before to spend a little time for vacation, I'm in a different position. I'm a real estate agent, so I can make my own hours. But some folks are working jobs where they can't do that, so they have to be work under a boss. Where like my broker told me take whatever time I need to get this done. So he's just waiting on this process to get done too. So he's giving me time off to do all this immigration stuff. I'm not selling houses, so what I'm doing is I'm making videos for you guys, and I'm flying back and forth to Colombia. But you don't have, as long as you qualified when you filed for the K-1 visa, you don't have to meet again. I recommend that you do. I mean, you surely miss each other, but you won't be disqualified. Let's see. The only evidence I have is from my friend trying to get it, and we were shot at trying to get at the embassy. Oh my gosh, you were shot at? This is Haiti, right? Well, immigration need evidence of some kind. They need something. They need to see that you wrote an email to the Haitian government requesting your divorce decree. And if it bounces back, servers are down, office is closed, emails processing is closed, that's evidence that you tried to get it. You got to have evidence. You tried, and the embassy and the courthouse in Haiti responded this way, even if it's a bounce back email. They don't take letters from. If you have a friend, then you need to have your friend write an affidavit explaining that's what happened and that you got shot at. Okay, that's strong evidence, but it's got to be an affidavit and it's got to be notarized. So regarding the income, Marianne, that means that they are looking for I make, not what I made. That's right. What do you make? What do you make right now? If you were to fill out your form I-134, do you make 100% of the minimum federal guidelines or more? If you do, you qualify right now. Okay. So look at me. I took off 10 months and went to live in Colombia with Karina. My income went down this way. Okay. But I kept all my evidence. Here's where I was for 10 months, Mr. Immigration Officer. I was in Colombia. Why was I in Colombia? Because you guys have made this process so long. I didn't want to be separated from Karina. So I gave up my job for 10 months and went to live in Colombia to wait for the visa. I'm now back in the United States, and my income is now going this way, not this way. So when I fill out my I-134, okay, I'm going to put in there how much I make now, not what I was making in 2022. Even though my 2022 tax return is going to show this much, okay, and I should get my tax transcript here probably tomorrow. I called the IRS and they mailed it to me. Even though my IRS tax return transcript shows this much, my I-134 is going to show this much. It's going to be different from my tax return because I'm back in the USA doing my working and my income is going in this direction. So I'm good. What are you making right now? And then I got to back that up with evidence. I've got evidence, here's my my direct deposits going into my bank, and I'll bring all that with me to the interview so that I can back up my statement that my income is now more than it was in 2022 because I'm back working. Bethlehem Tesfaye, thank you so much. Yeah, it's what you make now, not what you made. Ollie Seaman, I filed May 2022. Which tax return will she have to bring to the interview? She will have to bring to the interview the 2020, the 2021, and the 2022 tax return. 2020, 2021, 2022. Okay. I'm assuming you're saying you filed your K-1 visa May of 2022, which means that you filed your taxes somewhere between January and April of 2022. So I would be on the phone calling the IRS, asking for tax transcripts for 2020, 2021, and 2022, separate them into 3 separate folders, and give those to your beneficiary for the face-to-face. Nas A, I want to ask you that I'm divorced with the first fiance and I already applied for a second. Okay, yeah, me too. How long is it going to take from the second one? Second fiance NOA 2. Okay, so you're exactly in the same boat as I am. I'm on my second K1 visa also. If you filed for your second K1 visa on March 16th, 2022, then you should be hearing from the immigration in May of 2023. So next month, May or June at the latest. Okay, but if you make, hopefully you included your first crash and burn K1 visa in the K1 visa package so that you gave an explanation as to what happened to the first K1 visa. It's important that you reduce the workload for immigration. You are allowed 2 K1 visas. You are not considered a multiple filer if you file 2 K1 if you're on your second K1 visa. It's totally legal to file 2. But what I did was I included an explanation on what happened to my first one. So I'm going to save them the job of having to investigate it. So I included my NOA 1 letter, my NOA 2 letter, and my approval I-797s from my first K1 visa. I said, here you go. In 2016, this is my first rodeo. Didn't work out. Here's what happened. And then here are the boarding passes where I returned her back to her home country. And then everything didn't work out. She's happy. And then here's a copy of my final divorce decree, and we're all good. So now what I just did was immigration can now call up those receipt numbers from the first K1 visa. They can look in their computer and say, okay, yeah, the visa was terminated at the embassy. The visa was terminated here. Everything's good. So I'm not sitting on an outstanding visa. Okay. So you're good. No problem. Let's see here. So NASA, don't worry about your first one, okay? Focus on your new one. You're good to go, my friend. Janiela are both going in for the interview or just a beneficiary. If so, how will they justify the amount made? Well, you need to make sure your beneficiary fully understands the income of the sponsor. Now, at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, I'm allowed to accompany Karina to the embassy interview. But the immigration officer might say to me, Diego, I need you to sit outside for a few minutes. And I'm like, okay. And then they may ask her questions without me being present. So make sure that your beneficiary knows everything about you, Mr. Sponsor, Miss Sponsor, how much money you make. Why was your income low here and high here? In fact, I'll make a video for you guys on the K1 visa interview. I've been there, I've done it. I know what it's like. I'll make a video about it. Let's see here. So Jason Mabry, when USCIS cashed our K1 visa payment without an RFE, does that mean our packet was complete? Yep. It means that they looked at it at the Dallas lockbox. You signed the form I-129F. You dated it. You didn't miss anything in the form when you filled out the form. Everything's good on the form. You did a good job on the form. Dallas liked it, and they sent it to the service center. Now you wait for the service center to do their look-see at it. The service center looks at it. They're happy with it. They send it to the MVC. They'll send you an NOA 2 letter. MVC gets it, assigns a case number. If the MVC get it and they see there's a problem with it, they'll send it back to USCIS and say, you got to fix this. They won't deny the visa, the MVC. Okay? MVC gets it. They're happy. They assign a case number. They wait for an interview. They wait for the embassy to get freed up from a workload. They'll mail your package to the U.S. Embassy in whichever country it is your beneficiary is in using DHL. That's who they have a contract with. Let's see. Sawdust. Tax return transcripts can be downloaded online. Yeah, you can download your transcripts online if you want. But I didn't want to do it online. I wanted to give them something to do. I gave the IRS something to do. That's my tax dollars that I'm paying, so I'm going to make them pay and put a stamp on my envelope and mail it to me. Just kidding. Okay. The interviewer sets the rules for the interview process. The ambassador running the embassy sets the rules for the interview process. The interviewer, the consular officer, can make his own decisions or her own decisions also. That's correct. So Augusto, the ambassador that runs the embassy, sets the rules, and then his embassy is run by him, and then his consular officers, they can set their precedent. He'll either let you in or they won't let you in. Okay, guys, it's 6:45 p.m. Central Time here in beautiful Florida, and I'm going to probably log off now. And it was very productive. Hopefully, we got something out of it. Hopefully, y'all learned something about it. I'm going to make a video about how to put together a K1 visa, and for you guys, the easy peasy way, so you don't mess it up and get an RFE. And Greg Lamping, you're welcome. Thank you for watching. And we will see you guys soon in the United States on an airplane with your beneficiary. And remember, make sure when you get your fiance in the USA, get married in 90 days and adjust the status in 90 days. If you get it all done in 90 days, immigration will love you. And they will say, you did such a good job, we're not going to even make you come to another visa interview. And they'll mail the green card to your beneficiary. Okay, guys, next Sunday, we'll see you again next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Time.